It's 11:10 a.m. here in Seoul. I'm Oh Soo-young at the Arirang News Center. We're breaking into our regular programming to bring you a live briefing from the South Korean health authorities on the coronavirus outbreak here in the nation. In just a few moments, we'll cut into the briefing at the Sejong Government Complex with simultaneous interpretation available for you in English. We're going to go into the briefing room now, where Son Young-lee, a spokesperson for the Health and Welfare Ministry, will be sharing the latest figures and updates on the COVID-19 situation here in Korea. He's just taken to the podium now, so let's take a listen.
We also have sign language translation available. First of all, here is Mr. Son Young-lee with the briefing on the COVID-19 response. Let us now begin our regular briefing for June 9th, Tuesday. As of today midnight, we have 38 new cases. Out of them, 35 were local transmissions, while 3 were imported cases from overseas. And the total number of confirmed cases now stands at 11,852, and a total of 989 people are in quarantine undergoing treatment. The death toll stands at 274, with 1 additional fatality as of yesterday. We extend our deepest condolences to the deceased and the members of the bereaved family. Today, we also held a KCC meeting presided over by Mr. Choi Bok-soo, and we discussed measures for the quarantine for especially the blind spots of the quarantine measures. And we also have updates for the domestic infections in the metropolitan area. Out of the 38 new cases, we have 35 local transmissions, and 33 of them are concentrated in the metropolitan area. Until today, we have about 140 people who have been occurred as the confirmed cases in June, and most of them are concentrated in the metropolitan area, with about 98% of them being concentrated in the metropolitan area. And we are also seeing some of the characteristics which are happening in the metropolitan area, and these are sporadic clusters of infections that are continuously breaking out. And we are also seeing extended outbreak in the religious small group meetings, club meetings, door-to-door sales group meetings, and as well as a sports facility in Yangcheon-gu district of Seoul, which is also leading to a shelter facility for Chinese compatriots and a big church in Yongin city of Gyeonggi-do province. So if we cannot curb the outbreak effectively, we have a possible risk of another widespread infection. And so we ask for the support and practice by the business establishments and residents in the metropolitan area. We ask you to refrain from going to outdoors and refrain from unnecessary social gatherings. And we also ask you to avoid venues under crowded, confined, and close contact environment, as they have a higher risk of infection. And if you are in the high group, including senior citizens over the age of 65 or have chronic illnesses, you should be on special alert. We also ask the business establishments for the following precautions. Please advise all of your employees to follow and strictly abide by quarantine measures and provide an environment for a quarantine. You need to also wear face masks at all times, keep distance with each other, and disinfect on a regular basis. So these are a very popular and wide-known quarantine measures that we have been disciplined as of now. And please comply with these measures going forward at all times. And please remember that these need to be carried out on a routine basis. And the government is also taking preemptive measures to also eradicate any of the quarantine blind spots in our society, especially for the facilities that are not under the supervision of ministries. We are also doing extensive inspection. And last week, we did a joint investigation and inspection on some of the dormitories for the foreigners and so forth. And this week, we will also do an inspection with the Pan government ministries on the rest areas in the traffic areas and so forth. And we also continue to carry out over 100,000 of facilities of inspection, and we have ordered about 30 of these facilities. And we are also doing our crackdown for nightlife venues during the night hours. And we are also closely cooperating with the regional police offices and fire departments. And we have did an inspection for over 100 facilities nationwide and issued administrative orders for 2 facilities that breached quarantine measures. And we will exert our further efforts going forward. And the following is about self-quarantine people. And as of now, we have quite a number of people on self-quarantine. Most of them are South Korean nationals, and they amount to about 9,000. And yesterday, during a day alone, we have 3 people who have been breaching their mandatory self-quarantine, and we have been applying them to the police. And about more than 100 people have breached the self-quarantine protocols, and currently about 3 people are wearing the relief bands, and we continue to ask you to comply with mandatory self-quarantine protocols going forward. And yesterday was the final and 4th phase of the resumption of school openings, and we have all of our school grade students going back to school for in-person classrooms. We believe this is a very important accomplishments that has been made thanks to all of the public support. And please ensure you become responsible agents of quarantine to guarantee a safe environment for our children. Thank you very much.
That was a live briefing from the South Korean health authorities you just heard there. We were just updated with the latest infection cases. There was an additional 38 COVID-19 infection cases here in the country, bringing the total to 11,852. There was unfortunately 1 more death, bringing the total death toll to 274. Well, that wraps up our coverage of this morning's briefing. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll be back shortly with our regular newscast at midday Korea time. Bye for now.